Hey guys, it's been quite a while. Been a really crazy past 2 to 3 weeks because of all the concurrent launches. In fact, about six of them almost all together. Obviously, not all of them in the same weekend, but we've already seen for ourselves over the news which are the more crazy ones. So today we are going to be talking about the most crazy one, which is Katong. Now, if we look at the article over here, 99% sales at launch. How long has it been since a project pretty much sold out on the launch weekend itself? 99%, almost 100%, so averaging 2621 PSF. Guys, man, this is really incredible. I personally did not expect 99%. I only expected 70 to 75% because of all the blah blah blah, all the supply and here and there, prices. Yes, I know the land was acquired at a very cheap price, but a lot of people were thinking, hey, the developer got it cheap, that's why they must be selling cheap. No, how many times do we have to see, or rather, witness this for ourselves, that even though the developers may be getting the land cheap, it just means that they are wise, they are smart, that and in a lot of cases they are lucky enough to get it cheap. But that does not mean that they have to sell it cheap, because they can always take advantage of the current market condition and sell it to you at the market price. In this case, what we see over here, 2,600 plus, I believe a lot of people did not expect this price. In fact, a lot of people were looking at the indicative 2004, 2005, but 2006 it was pretty much wiped out, so you can see that the market has already accepted this price. Let's take a look at this article again. It sold out 47% just based on the VIP agent and bulk purchase sale, followed by another 400 plus unit on the actual day of launch itself. They did not move the pricing supposedly because they were trying to clear as many units as they can, but that does not mean that the pricing for the higher units are totally fair. Just because they put it there and did not change it does not mean that they do not stage up the prices. Please get it clear. There are different ways of staging up prices in a development, but just because they don't shift it in the day itself, it does not mean that the prices have not been staged yet. So make sure you know what the developer strategies are and do not get caught off guard by it. I think the problem is that a lot of people jump in the launch thinking that it's always the best deal. No, when you know that it is not a best deal, please be prepared to walk away. EOK holds the record for the most number of units sold in a day, besting even J Gateway 700 plus units back in June 2013. So total all the 2, 3, 4 bedrooms have been sold out. Guys, this is incredible, man. When was the last time we saw all these being wiped out on the launch weekend itself? In fact, now from what we are seeing, there are, instead of just only about 11 units left, now we're seeing there's only 6 units left. That means the 5 units that recently just moved for the past few days, they were moved at, if I'm not wrong, average PSF of about 2008 2009 PSF. Guys, come on, 2008 2009, why are you buying this in 99 in a freehold area for 2008 2009 PSF? Are there not other better choices? Yes, I know there are harmonization regulations, the new one, but that does not mean that you can just buy in just because it's supposedly the inflated PSF, yes, and people truly recognize the value. No, you still have to buy in at the right PSF. It gives you the advantage. I think the hype that surrounds all the EOK thing is that it has a quantum advantage over the nearest neighbor, which is directly opposite, Tembusu Grand. But if you are getting into a launch that has advantage, then you need to know what is the advantage. You need to know that today you are getting into EOK because of the quantum play that you have over Tembusu Grand. And that's why you should be getting into as close to the Tembusu Grand's PSF so that you have the advantage. But people totally neglect it. They are just jumping into it at 2.9 PSF. Come on, guys. Even though if you do not, even if you do know the harmonization, it does not have any guarantees that eventually your resale buyers will be able to accept it. It's the same thing as people, they are looking at the very very old condos and they are just trying to compare the PSF head on. That is not a very fair comparison, but yes, you can argue about that, but you may not always convince the resale buyers that it is a not apple to apple comparison, and that is where the challenge of course this is where our role as the middleman in the market comes in lah. But then again, let's not move into that. Let's just finish the rest of this article. With total 3,000 plus units on offer, of course we're not just talking about the big three, we're talking about a few others. In fact, out of the six, the three of them that are the most prominent will be Chuan Park, EOK, and also Nava Grove. Luckily for most people, I would say, in fact the whole market, Chuan Park decided to be a little bit more kiasu and shift it 1 week earlier to Sunday, which was very unorthodox because it's been quite a while since we see a major launch on a Sunday itself. But they were rushing, which I think it kind of, in a way, now looking back, it would have helped EOK a lot because they wouldn't have to tear the buyers away. And people who were basically eliminated from the Chuan Park side with 2,800 checks, we were thinking how incredible is that just for about 900 plus units. The 2,800 plus check, they all decided to go elsewhere, the rest, those that didn't get in, to other places like Nava and also EOK. And that's why EOK had a whooping number of 3,600 plus checks, which is 800 plus units. You're looking at 3,600 plus checks. This is, I really have. That's why sometimes when people keep saying nowadays, people are saying, oh, the market is cooling down here and there. Guys, if you're not on the ground, you do not feel it. You have to be really on the ground to know what is happening. Don't assume just because of the newspaper article, because previously, just back in August during the, if I'm not wrong, during the Hungry Ghost month, they were saying that the market has slowed down a lot because of the 16-year low, just because a certain month does not have an impressive amount of units. It is not a reflection of the market as a whole, because there are a lot of people waiting for major launches and they are rushing in. Then true enough, now what we are seeing over here is that 16-year low in just August, and then now November we are probably seeing the highest ever since March 2013 over here. Yeah, over here you see March 2013. We are looking at 16-year low, suddenly about 12-year high leh. It's not accurate to compare just month on month, that kind of thing. You have to be looking at a lot of other things like what are the projects that are launching, what are the market conditions. And hence over here, I think we already know by now, you should already know by now that it is never a fair comparison to compare all these month to month factors. Next, let's just continue. Similar did not raise their selling price from the initial price, which what we were talking about just now. It's just because they did not raise it from the initial price list, it does not mean that it is perfectly reasonably priced. Those who managed to get in at a good price, I think congratulations to you. You have made a very good purchase. But those people who are on the far end, I would say 2,700 plus onwards, unfortunately, if these guys are buying for investment, I think it's going to be a little bit hard to exit with very good profits. But if you are buying for own stay, I think it's perfectly fine. I don't think it is too much of a problem. So basically, people who were not able to buy, they in the end went up to the other Trinity, which was Grand Diamond, Continuo, and also Tembusu Grade. All three recorded good sales, which is perfectly understandable because at 2,900, 2,800, or even 2,700, why would I be buying Emerald Katong when I can be snapping out good deals at either the Trinity? I don't think those are really, really good deals, but it's definitely going to be a better deal at EOK. Or maybe even other projects elsewhere in Singapore, which I think there are definitely better deals elsewhere. Then this strong momentum, I think, is very attributable to the economic growth and also the cut in interest rates, which improve the borrowing capacity, especially when the banks lower their affordability assessment in terms of TDSR requirements, and also lower returns for other investment assets. Example the SSB or the T-bills. Lower use will cause some people to be shifting their monies towards the harder assets, which is real estate. Anyway, back to this, we just have a quick look. Is that what we are seeing over here is there are more people flushing money into real estate in terms of homes, and during this same period of time, money also is being flushed in from all sorts. So I'm not going to be moving into this. I'm not an economist by training, so I'm not going to be moving into this because this is not my expertise. I'm not going to be acting like I know a lot of things. I just know pretty much money supply is coming in, money generally is coming in, and that is the simple thing that we need to know, I believe. And then over here is that we already seen October is rising in terms of project sales, and then November, this is going to be easily 2,000 plus over here. So from 700 plus is already impressive in a single month. Then we suddenly jump to 2000 plus. This is anyway just a very quick and brief introduction to Emerald Katong as a project, because previously we didn't have time to do this. Nothing much to go through because it's pretty much already 99% sold. Those who already got a good purchase, like what I said, congratulations to you. If not, then I think we believe there should be some bounce out units. Hopefully you are not one of those, like, if not, you'll be losing quite some money. This is the location itself, which you should be very clear by now already. There are total of 800 plus units with only 600 plus car park lots. 22% are 4 and 5 beders, 33% 3 beders, 34% 2 beders, and only 10% as the 1 plus study, which is the lowest quantum, but of course still have available. It seems that more of the demand are flushed towards all these over here, the other unit sizes, which is quite understandable. And then one thing we need to know about EOK is that there are some distances that you may be concerned about. In fact, the unblocked view today may not be the unblocked view by the time EOK is going to be done. So I'm not going to be moving too much into this, but just need to take note there is going to be a nursing home that has to be built eventually, and also some other land at the southern side. Schools, we don't want to be promising anything because we don't want to repeat of what happened to Tembusu Grab because of the Guanghua drama, right? A lot of people were in fact disappointed, highly disappointed, because they think that the developer promised that there's Guanghua, but apparently it's not. So it's only fair enough that EOK side does not promise in that sense. But then again, every school is a good school. There is still two other schools over here. I shall not move into this. And this is the part that I want to focus a little bit more on. The red line is where EOK 2600 plus was launched over here. And then if I why I put the yellow line, because if I compare, I bring it down in terms of the harmonization. I bring it back to more or less pre-harmonization, but minus maybe just about 5%. It's a little bit difficult to use 5% only, but I'm just using it as a general gauge. Many disputable ways to calculate it, but I'm just using it as a gauge. And if I minus it 5% off, thereabouts I get about slightly below 2005, which is quite comparable to the Musuku. So if you manage to get some units at about 2004, 2005 in this high supply area, I think it is still fine, because you're getting into something that is the newest out of four, but you're getting it almost at the same price, which I think is fine. But if you're getting way higher at this level, especially Amber Park at a better location with a freehold title and a more iconic structure, I don't think why, if it's me, why would I gonna go at 2008, 2009 for EOK 99 when I can even get this icon, right? It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that this is a very good buy now, but I'm like seriously questioning why are people rushing into that FOMO to get into the 2009, 2008 at that, to fill up that 90 plus percent so percentile. That is seriously a big question mark. And also, if you gauge the resale around there, there is the nearest, which is High Court over here. It is transacting around 20 something XXPSF. So you can see the gap over here. Then if you look at the land, which I mentioned just now, they managed to get the land cheaper, even though it is post-harmonization. It's supposed to be cheaper comparatively, but then again, it is supposed to be a newer piece of land by more than 1.5 years, but it is more than, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's about 20-30% cheaper. I'm not very good at math in that sense. So if it's about 80 plus percent for maybe about 5 to let's say 8% post harmonization kind of discount, then this is definitely much cheaper. But then again, we mentioned a lot of times that land gotten cheaper by developer does not always mean that they have to sell it cheap. And this is, I don't think this is a very fair break-even number comparison, because if you look at the margins over here, 1003 plus to about 2003 plus, and this is pre-harmonization, given the fact that developers cannot sell you all the aircon ledgers and also strata airspace and all these thereabouts here and there, and then the wall thing. I believe the break-even should be a little bit higher, but never mind, let's just bring it a little bit more, maybe up to about 2000 PSF. Even then, they are still getting quite a big margin compared to all the other developments such as this. Pretty much it for EOK. I think my conclusion is that there are some good deals in EOK. Those who managed to get in at a good price, congratulations to you. Those who did not and rush in because of FOMO, I hope you know really what you're doing, because this is not a cheap purchase at all. It doesn't really make sense in this market to be rushing in at 99% sold in. I mean, I still personally I still can't really accept lah. It's 90 something percent. When I saw the prices, I'm like, this is crazy, man. Why is the developer trying their luck at that kind of pricing? And people are actually snapping out on that launch day itself. So I think that is a super really high level of market FOMO right now. There are definitely good deals. There are still good deals lying around. It doesn't always have to be brand new launch, but there is absolutely no need for people to be rushing into something just because everyone is there, and that's probably understandable given that Singapore typical mentality is to rush in wherever everyone else is. So let's just take a look same at this article. Property prices in Asia are expected to rise over the next 1 year, with Singapore expected to record a modest growth of 2 to 3%. I think this is perfectly healthy. I don't want anything higher. In fact, I wouldn't want anything higher. It also means that it's gonna be crazy next time when I buy, and that's gonna cost a lot more cooling measures. In fact, 2 to 3% is very moderate and is probably a result of the many measures that we already have. On the other hand, Hong Kong is expected to gain a lot more because of how much they have slumped, almost 30% since peaking back in 2019. Since 2019, Singapore has reversed, it has moved up a lot more compared to Hong Kong. So totally we are not looking at apple to apple fair comparison in that sense. After the drop in Q3 in this year, prices in Singapore should be expected to rise due to interest rates falling, which will result in mortgage rates being cheaper, and hence people are more willing to spend. As you can see over here, inflation, hedging power, healthy household balance sheets, cheaper interest rate, demand from public home owners upgrading, all this contributes to the private market going up. But however, there will be some economic uncertainty, more launches, and supposedly unsold inventory may limit further growth. I don't really think this part is quite true, because given how people were rushing into the major launches, we don't talk about those that are not very ideal location, like aka the CCRs that we are seeing that was launched around the same period. I shall not name which one, but if we are looking at the big trees, Champa, Nava, and also EOK, people rushing in, oversubscribed checks, and then with rather high conversion rates, this is definitely not going to resonate with this part of this article, because I don't think it's actually contributing to the unsold inventory. In fact, every time there is this launch, even though they may contribute some unsold inventory, but because of the spillover demand from the check count, the excessive check count, people are actually rushing over to the other existing launches and then clearing out the supply over there. So that's why it does not always mean that just because there are some unsold stock in the brand new launches, there will be an overall increase. It may or may not, because it really depends on the market conditions at that point of time. This will be the main three, I think, upcoming that people will be looking forward to. I know there are people waiting and waiting, but you need to factor in also the market conditions as mentioned over here. Just because there may be very good upcoming launches that a lot of people will be thinking in terms of the location, there will be prospects. Let's just think about example this one over here. If Woodlands is selling at 2,000 plus PSF already, will Tampines be selling at that price? I think this one everyone gotta be clear, because if I were the developer, if I know that Woodlands is going to be already selling at that price, I have an integrated development right in front of the MRT, why should I be selling at that price? That is the big question mark. Alright, and same goes for this one. If Claremont is doing so well, why should I be selling at that price? And also this one, if there is supposedly a pent-up demand, why should I be selling cheap when my break-even price is actually quite high? So in fact, if this trend of oversubscription or an over interest, excessive interest in terms of check indication happens to all these launches one at a time, I don't see why the prices are going to be coming down at all anytime. And it is really highly dependent on the luck factor, which I personally, I don't believe in putting my investments through luck. So I rather be looking at whatever is available on the market and then make sure the numbers make sense and then just jump it straight away. Because if you are the kind that to keep waiting and waiting and waiting, this launch, that launch, this launch, that launch, and imagine this one is going to have another 2,000 plus checks, what are the chances? If your chances is not going to be good, I have some clients who waited for Champa, waited for AOK, and then numbers are 1,000 plus, 2,000 plus. I really have no idea when are they gonna commit to something, because luck obviously is not on their side. Obviously, I also have clients who have superb numbers from either one of the developments and then walking out, which is very unfortunate because the developer actually shift up the prices after that multiple times, which already means paper gain. But then again, sometimes it's really not about the better number, but it's more about how you look at your numbers and whether your numbers are actually feasible for investment or not. Is it actually feasible, or is it just a imaginative number that is not really realistic but that is painted in your mind? I think that is not really how making an investment in real estate in Singapore actually works. So anyway, for those people who are looking at this tree, hopefully you do manage to get your choice, and then but most importantly, luck must be in your favor in terms of balloting. So that will be all we have for today. If not, then I will see you guys soon. Take care. See you. Bye bye.